Good evening, everybody out there in our community. So glad that you are able to come here tonight and join us. And I want to tell you a little bit about what tonight's show is about. But for those of you, we have a lot of new members in our Empath group and even on our Powerful Potential and Purpose. And for those of you that don't know me, I am Gloria Coppola. I am the founder of the Empath group, and I've been a natural born empath, training, healing, professionals for almost 4 decades. And I'm an author, a publisher, and retreat leader. But more than anything, I'm a soul that is here to serve. And tonight, that's what we're going to actually be talking about. And I know there's a lot going on in this world right now. And earlier today, I put a post about trust and trusting the divine creator, or, whatever that is for you, God, goddess, all things above. And I just want to take a moment before I introduce my lovely colleague. I always do it backwards. Lovely colleague who I've known for many, many years, because we both owned massage schools too. I just want to say, in this time, it's really important for those of us in the healing arts, those of us that are awakening, and those of us that have been on this path for a while, to really ground yourself and be in a state of grace and prayer. Because there's so much information going out there that the only way that you're going to find the truth is if you quiet your mind, turn off the TV, tap into your heart and soul and listen and trust a higher power. And that's when your prayers get answered, not when you're in anger and all this other fear-based stuff that's happening right now. And sure, there's reason for concern. But it is our calling in this time, and Deborah, and I are going to talk about this, why we're actually here, okay? It is our calling at this time to step up to our gifts, to be in our truth. And that means you are all here to serve, every single one of you. So if you jump in on live, please come on and say hello. And if you're on the replay, as always, hit pound replay. I'm just going to check my connection here on Facebook so that if any questions come up for either one of us, I can see them, and then we'll get started. So with that, tonight's topic is going to address that, who we are from a soul level, why we're here. And I remember, gosh, Deborah, I'm not even sure if you probably had these callings too. Well, first of all, this is Deborah Finley. She's an evidential medium, empath, intuitive, Reiki master, angel communicator, and she actually has a message from the angels tonight. And it was specifically going to go into the new book I am publishing with a bunch of collaborative authors, The Path of Awakening. But it is so powerful that I asked her to share it tonight because I believe it's a message for all of us now too. Not just to wait for a book. I believe it's a message. But we're also going to open a discussion here about who you are and to remember who you are and why you're really here to serve. So when you jump on, remember to come on in, ask questions, because we like this to be a dialogue and not just the two of us hanging out talking to you. So Deborah, I'm so glad to have you back on here again and sharing your wisdom, your heart, and your soul. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria. Hello, everybody. It's great to be back on. It really is. I don't know about you all, but boy, is the veil thin. Thinner than it's been in a long time, so to speak. So how about you, Gloria?
I agree. And I'm glad you brought that up, because it is a great time for all of us that are highly sensitive beings, and those of us that want to tap into our intuition more, to actually this quiet time. It's almost like the Creator gave us this quiet time to be able to connect through that veil and to pay attention. Don't you think? It's time we needed it.
Absolutely. And just a gentle reminder to everyone, try to stay away from the news media. Of course, we need to be informed, and that is very, very important. There are measures you can take to just, watch perhaps the oh, I can't even think. But you know, the actual president speaking or something, maybe, instead of having the news running in the background for several hours a day and so forth. I know I myself have had to remind myself, like, listen, is this the collective energy that you're picking up, or is this your energy? Are these your feelings, or the collective energy around us? So, you know, I'm human. You know, yes, I consider myself fairly well developed. You know, however, I too have had to take those moments to breathe and to center myself, ground myself, like Gloria was talking about. Um, you can do that in many different ways. You can go out barefoot, you know, on those nice days, if you live in a climate that would honor that, you know, go into the grass, hug a tree, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, just breathe. Breath is very important, you know, and you can picture your feet, the bottoms of your feet, bottom roots, and going down and wrapping around core Mother Earth. You know, there's several different ways you can ground. You know, sometimes
And
you know you don't have to
I'm,
eat.
and I'm really glad that you talked about like quieting all the distractions. We've kind of touched upon that with some of our other guests that have come in on, and I'm really glad that it's a common thing that keeps showing up because it is important because we can so easily go into fear, not trust our intuition, not listen to our heart and soul, and then get distracted with all the other stuff. And that's even when a lot of the bitterness is raising up on this planet. But, you know, I was sitting outside today in the backyard and I was talking to my cousin and I said, you know, it's amazing that in this short time, the air is fresher, the sky is cleaner, the birds are louder, the earth is calmer, despite all the chaos that's going on with the virus. And, you know, like you were saying earlier, the veil is thin. It really is a time, a gifted time for us to, you know, even though we're going to take precautions for our health, a
Absolutely.
gifted time for us to heighten our senses.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I know that my relatives, my ancestors on the other side, were thrilled to death that I was actually quiet. And here I thought I was. And, you know,
Yeah.
I shared with you I had a computer crash, you know, so that cut me off the computer, you know. So, yeah, I needed to do that. I really did. You know, everyone knows, everyone has that inner guidance, that inner, I don't know, scale, I want to say, you
Mhm.
know, and we know when we're out of balance. We know when we're just pushing and doing too much. And yeah, sometimes we need to, right? But other times, no,
Mhm.
we know. And it's better than the universe putting you down, you know? And we've had that, right, Gloria? I mean, God forgive us,
Oh
but
my
we
God, yeah.
have. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah.
absolutely.
Yes, when
And I
we're
just
doing
want to let
too
everybody know that does jump on either live or on the replay. Internet, because it's so overloaded with everybody doing lives, you're going to find a little delay every once in a while. Just hang in there. We know about it, you know, and it just is what it is. Okay. But you will hear everything. It's just a little bit delayed sometimes. So yeah, Deb, thanks for bringing that up. I even made a suggestion the other day. A lot of people have their cell phones by their beds and stuff. Get it away. Get it away. And you know, some people won't turn it off, but turn down all the beeping and stuff. You know, because you'll find too. I don't know if you have find my dream state is just so much more heightened, and the messages, Deborah, that are coming in
Mm-hmm.
crazy, like just crazy insane.
Yeah.
Actually, when the coronavirus first, you know, got announced, one of my dreams, God came right to me and told me what the cure was, and people were like telling me, oh, that's fake news. Well, I'm sorry, when Creator comes to me and talks, that is not fake news.
That's true.
It's not
That's right.
fake news. And the funny thing, Deb, is now the news that is coming out from the doctors and stuff from around the world are saying exactly what I put out there when a bunch of people were coming at me. And that's exactly what we were talking about is when Deborah was saying, you got to turn some of things down. You got to turn it down so that you can listen. And when, colleagues are telling me, oh, fake news, misinformation, that's not true. Well, first of all, none of it was going to hurt anybody, number one. None of
Right.
it. It was
That's
all
right.
natural stuff. It was all from the earth. So why get so bitter and angry? And that's the energy that is fed through when you're constantly listening to everything else other than your higher wisdom. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. Let's address that for a minute,
Yes,
if you don't
please
mind.
do.
You're welcome. There is so much separation that has been going on in this world, let alone our country. Um, People are angry. Now, listen, I've had bad things happen. We all have. We've had horrible things happen. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and it's human to feel your feelings, but it's when you get stuck there that it becomes detrimental and it becomes dangerous for you and your well-being, and even those that are around us. That
Yeah.
perhaps we're raising children. You know, we need, I believe, and from the messages that the angels gave me today, even we need to continue to raise our vibration and love and compassion is the energy that we need to be in. I'm not talking about denial. That's a totally different ball of wax there. I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about the energy of love and compassion. And for those who are struggling and for those who are fearful, and I've seen you say this, Gloria, many a times, we need to give them that love energy and that compassion, okay, because they're struggling. A lot of people are struggling, but we can get through this by having faith that we are protected and being in the energy of love,
Mm-hmm.
because that restores us. Think about it. Think about how much anger takes out of us.
Oh my
Think
God,
about
yeah.
how much hate takes out of us. It's it takes more effort to even think negatively than it does to think positively. And
Absolutely.
10 seconds before we think a thought, we choose to think it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do better. Let's choose better for ourselves and for our loved ones and for the world.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Deb, before we get into our conversation further, would you like to put a little prayer or meditation out there for maybe a minute or so?
Pardon me? I'm sorry, Gloria.
I
What'd you
said
say?
before we actually get started further with it, can you hear me?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. So before we actually get started, I was going to ask you, oh, Angela's on. Yes, it does take more effort to think negatively. And Angela was actually talking about that on her live the other day. So if you didn't catch it, she gave some tips. But I was thinking, Deb, it might be a perfect time right now just to do a very short prayer for our group. Would you be willing to do that?
Okay. Okay. I actually wrote one, Gloria. How about that?
I guess you knew.
Okay. I'm going to do the call to God, our Creator. Leave what you don't want and take what you'd like. The Divine Spirit, God, let me hear your loving kindness always, for I trust in you. Teach me the way in which I should walk, for to you I lift up my soul. God, Divine Holy Spirit, who is the perfection of love and harmony, who
Mm.
is the example of love and harmony, and of all things that you have created, continue to protect and put your grace upon. God, who created and watches over the universe and our beautiful earth, we gather here tonight and we ask that you open our hearts, that you open our minds, so that we may hear your voice and hear the inner guidance that you send us, which constantly comes from within. We ask for our continued growth and progress in becoming a better service to those who seek us out and to those in need. Thank you, Amen.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And no matter what you believe in, out there, most of us believe in a higher power. And so God, Goddess, Creator, Buddha, just insert what you need to feel that beautiful, loving message that we come together in love. So that was beautiful. So I know there's some people here, so thank you all for joining us. Be sure to just come on and say hello. And I really want to get you guys engaging in this conversation because we're going to amp this up a little bit. We've been talking about stress and self-care and things like that, and we need all that. But Deborah and I are going to talk more about today about who you are from a soul level. Because like she was saying earlier, the veil is thinner, which means you get the opportunity to tap into this and go deeper. Now, Deborah, you may have heard me say, because I know you took some of the Lomi training, that the kahuna I have studied with, they always ask you, who are you? And they don't want to know that you're a mother or a teacher or any of that. They want to know who you are from a soul level.
Absolutely.
And it really does take some deep diving, doesn't it?
Yes.
So
I love that.
How about you share, because you brought this up. How about you share what you want to bring to our viewers tonight about who are you?
Who am I? Who are you?
Well, the topic you had said that was something that you had talked about to talk about tonight. So how does somebody find out who they are? Who are they? How do they find that out? What did you have to do? I can share what I did too, but what did you have to do?
I had to live in the present. I had to follow my heart and follow that inner guidance because that's who I am. I am a divine being. I am a child of God, the Creator. And I was made as you were made, in that intelligence and in that perfection. Our souls are what guides us. And by going within, we can hear it and we can listen. And we can also hear Spirit, God, and listen and be guided. Your soul is that which will always give you the correct guidance. We all have done things that go against who we are and our grain, and we all have that inner nudging, that says, you know you're not doing right there. You know you're not in integrity there. You know. And our souls know. That's your soul talking. I believe. So
I agree because one of the things that happened on my journey, on my path in soul searching, how many of you have soul searched in your life or gone through a dark night of a soul? Let us know. What came of that was actually the path that I lead now to help people understand this and become a soul purpose sage through four decades of all this exploration. Okay. And like you said, being more present in that moment to know what that truth is. And it's a spiritual truth. And if I'm not in that present moment, like you were saying, I can get caught up in all the distractions. And it could also lead me to be in wrong relationships, wrong places, situations, and all of that. But when I go inward and I communicate with my soul, it always guides me exactly where I need to be.
Yes. It puts you on the correct path. And
Mm-hmm.
also, excuse me, the angels, they were created to help us, and we can call upon them, and we can ask for their help. They'll open
Mm-hmm.
doors for us. They will keep us on our path. They will never go against your free will. That's another thing they talked about today when I meditated for a message.
Mm-hmm.
They talked about everything we're talking about, Gloria. I just love it. I just
I
love
do
it.
too. I do too.
Yeah.
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 Tina, thanks for being on. Tina Masters here.
Hi,
Thank you for
Tina. Hi,
being on
Angela.
too. Tina's going to be speaking on Monday. She does angel communication and she's going to be bringing messages too, because this is a time that people are seeking answers. And even though, our community here is very intuitive, we can get very caught up in everything else. And especially sometimes family don't support you where you are on your soul journey. So I think this conversation is a good one to be continuing out there. And anybody that is out there, please, by all means, come in and talk with us, talk about it. So like Tina was saying, all the negativity is exhausting and we need to choose positive. Okay. So here's what happened for me, Deborah. And I know we all have different ways. My world got shook up. All right.
Yes.
Because I was very driven. All right. And in a split second, my world got shook up and everything literally changed, everything. And it brought me to my knees. Okay. And as a result, it took me on journeys to study with shaman and kahuna.
Mhm.
And even though I had been on a spiritual path for 2 decades prior, and a lot of us are, and we think we got it, there's so much more. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. I feel it's important to realize that the path to awakening is all about getting yourself and in your own house in order, so to speak. You know, we don't have to be extremely perfect. But I'm talking about on a spiritual level. Cleaning up our bodies, cleaning up our thoughts. You know, um,
Mm-hmm.
getting our own house in order. So I think that that's important to
Absolutely.
mention as well. Um, Bringing balance into your life, drawing healthy boundaries, all
Mm-hmm.
of that, you know. And once you continually do it, it becomes easier and easier and it becomes a way of life,
Mm-hmm.
it really does. So,
Absolutely. I
um,
see it right now in my life, and you probably do too, and maybe some of you out there do, that because of the work we have done, we're not feeling as scattered, upset, or fearful as some other people, maybe even your own family members, right? And you're
right,
watching their energy maybe escalate out of worry for finances, even besides health. And I know for me, it's kind of like I'm sitting and observing it and watching it. And I was reading something about, when we shift into that fifth dimension, we're not attached to all those human emotions the same way. We can observe them and see them, you know, and but the truth is we could see it differently. And Angela says one of the hardest things for me was letting go of all those who didn't understand the journey. Exactly.
yes,
And that's what's happening because now we don't totally understand it all. At least I don't, but
yes.
we're seeing it differently. And I think that's why those of us that have this calling in times like this can really ground and hold the space for others, including our family members that we're locked down with.
Angela, it's funny you say that because the angels also addressed that today with the message about respecting others' free will. We can only be the light, so to speak, to show them the way, or lead them along on the path, so to speak. But they also have free will, and not all of them are going to come along with us, and that's
That's
okay.
right. And
That's all right.
and they're not meant to. Mm-hmm.
They choose
So, for
not
those of you
to.
that just
Yes.
jumped on, you didn't hear the announcement earlier, but Deborah had an angel channeling message today, which she was actually writing for the book, The Path of Awakening. Okay, that's coming out in May. But when she read it to me prior to coming to all of you, I said to her, this is not a message that has to wait until that book is published. This is a message that you, our listeners, our audience, our light workers need to hear tonight. So as soon as we get done with our discussion, she is going to share that beautiful angel message as well. So let's see, we got another comment here. Yes, it has been true. Absolutely. I'm sure we all can say that on our spiritual journey, like you said, when we were cleaning house, lots of relationships change. Sometimes we lose friendships, sometimes family members, sometimes we wind up getting divorced or something, and sometimes even a death happens. Someone that we couldn't let go of leaves and goes and crosses over. So there's a lot of ways that sometimes people aren't walking this path with us. What do you have to say about that, Deb?
I agree with you 100%. And, it's okay.
Okay.
We can respect their decisions as we expect them to respect ours,
Right.
and it's okay. I
That's a good
still
point.
send them a lot of love and energy and compassion, every night before I go to bed. When I say my prayers, I send. I send healing energy to those who ask for it, and I also say prayers, and it's okay.
Yeah.
It took me a while to wake up on many occasions. On many, many occasions. This old
We're
head
always
is
tested,
hard.
aren't we? My last relationship that ended abruptly, suddenly, and without conversation while I was away teaching, it shocked me. It shocked my system, okay? And it shocks our ego, of course, right?
Sure.
But when I came home, I had to fly from Hawaii after a few days I was teaching there. Everybody was angry. Everybody was angry at what happened and were, cursing him out per se. And I wasn't. And they were like, how could you not be mad? Well, I had a few days to process some things and try to understand it from a spiritual level. And I'm not perfect by any means, but I was glad that I had the tools that I had in life because one, I didn't know what he was going through. How could I judge it? Everybody else was doing enough of the judging. I had to come to the point where I said, please, if you want to call and support me through this transition in life, then please don't, be yelling about him and calling him names, because that's the bitterness. That's the anger. And they couldn't understand, Deborah, how I could be so forgiving. And I said, well, wait a minute. I'm processing through that too. I says, but here's the thing. I don't know what this is really about yet. I don't. Sure. And yet I knew it was going to happen on some level. I knew it. I always knew it. Yeah. And after 3 months of going through this new way of being, I did get angry. And it did surface. And I wound up going to an ashram to be in 5 days of silence, to go inward again and to listen to higher wisdom. And when I came out, I called him up. And I said, thank you. Thank you for setting me free. Because I probably wouldn't have done it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I've been able to live my purpose, like you were saying, who are we from the soul level? I've been able to live my purpose more fully without, we could say interference, judgment, whatever, but I don't have that there anymore.
Right. Yes.
So what tips do you have? I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. I was going to say that's always going to be a part of our lives because of who we are and what we do. There will always be judgment. There will always be those who, aren't in the same energy. And it's okay. It doesn't have to define who we are. Our souls define who we are. And the choices that we make define who we are. So,
So what tips do you have for, our light workers out there, our audience, our sensitive beings and empaths? What tips do you have for them? Like you said earlier, to kind of be more present. Can you explain a little bit more, to the listeners on how they can tap into listening to their soul?
Yes. I believe you know, we're going to know anyway when we're not, okay? Because we're going to be out of balance. And when we're out of balance, we need to take the time to put ourselves back into balance in whatever way works best for you. And sometimes I have a hair or something tickling me. Sorry about that. Sometimes, we know we're not eating the best, for instance. So maybe we could, incorporate some better foods within our diet. Meditation has always been key for me. It really has. Listening to music that makes you happy, just enjoying it and living, listening, bringing you to the present, and just in the here and the now, dance through the house, but whatever it is that you need to bring yourself back into balance. For me, like I said, I incorporate better foods into my diet. I don't deprive myself, as you can see. Don't do that. But the thing is, I meditate, I listen to music, I watch comedies. I put comedies on. I had the old shows on the other day, and my son's like, "What show's this?" I said, "These are old shows." Good. So whatever it is to bring you back into that, and also, I've been offering online for light workers to meet, and we say the little prayer, and then we send the energy, and as we send, we also receive.
Absolutely.
Remember that. So that also helps me personally. So those are some of the tips that I have, that I would share with you for bringing yourself. But a journal. I talked about opening the blinds up. Opening the window up, saging. All of these things I talked about doing, and you also can do that. But I personally got so much out of meeting, via Zoom, and saying the prayer and then sending the energy of love and compassion outward to touch those in this world that need it. And that's I got so much out of that.
I'm glad you brought up the word balance, because it's not the first time it's been coming up this week with the different guests I have had on. And I was talking the other night that I'm actually going to do a little training on here about that, because one of my mentors in Kahuna, when I had asked what's the most important thing to teach people, the Hawaiian word is lokahi. It's the balance, the unity, and the harmony. And you touched upon some of that stuff. And you also said, as we send, we also receive. And that is a big piece of this, because as caretakers, empaths, and light beings and healers, we're always giving. And that's why the exhaustion, the overwhelm, the confusion, all of that happens. So it both has to happen. And one of the things that he was adamant in his teaching in these 3 different areas of life was that it's not just what you're giving and what you're doing, it's what you're allowing yourself to receive.
True. I love that. It's true. It is true. Listen, again, I'm human. I've been in bad places in my life. Gone through hard times. I'm a venter. So I'll vent. But I choose who I vent to, because, and I don't get stuck in it. Sometimes I write it all down, and then I just burn it. Don't send it.
Well, it's kind of like a pressure cooker. You have to let the steam out.
Yes,
one of the things I used to do, because I don't necessarily like to vent with other people anymore. Okay. One of the things that I started doing years ago when I lived close to the beach, and now I've just happened to move back there, so when it opens up, I can do this. I would take runs or walks on the beach, and I would just let all this energy out until I fell down. And sometimes I would just scream out into the ocean because nobody could hear you, And if I didn't have that, I would do it in my car. And singing was another way, like taking a song that I can't even reach some of the notes, but it was relieving the pressure. And you've got to do that. You can't store it all inside. You just cannot. You got to let it out.
True. And you can't deny it either, because
No,
that's not healthy either.
no.
That's counterproductive. But I just want to say too, especially during these times, take it one day at a time. One day at a time. You know, enjoy the day as best you can. Be
Mm,
grateful for the day. All this happening is really a wake up call for a lot of people. I mean,
absolutely.
you know, it really is. Um, I, for us to have to be told to wash our hands, I mean, seriously. Um, but unfortunately, not all do, or not all can. But it's a wake up call for a lot
And
of
it's a
us.
wake up call, I
Yes.
feel,
Mhm.
to really pay attention to what's happening in our lives
I
and in the
agree.
world.
Hmm.
Because we don't. A lot of people are rushing to work, juggling families, maybe having two jobs, whatever, and they're on this autopilot all the time. I see it with people I know. And then when they have to be forced, in a sense, to pull back, they're uncomfortable. They don't know what to do with themselves. They're like feeling
True.
like they have to do something. And then they're getting super anxious and having meltdowns and all. And it's kind of like, hello, it's kind of like when I would
Ah,
have my retreats and I would have people put their cell phone, they weren't allowed to use their cell phones. I would take it away from them if they, were caught using it. And they'd be like, oh my God, I need my cell phone. But then after 3 days, and even taking one day in total silence, which freaks a lot of people out, after 3 days, they kind of drop into their presence and to everything around them. And then they don't even care about the rest. It's so cool. And I see that happening, with some of the people I know right now.
absolutely. Um,
So, do you guys out there have questions, comments, anything you want to share? Please drop a line below. And if you're on the replay, hit pound replay, and Deb and I will be sure to come back and answer your questions. So, Deb, you brought up something else, not only about who are you, but why are we here to serve?
yes, we really
So,
are.
yeah. So, when people tap into their soul, do you find out they get a clearer perspective of that?
I feel yes. I really do, because it's really, we are all connected, and I cannot say that enough. We are really all connected, and in ways that we would never even imagine, you know. And um, kindness goes a long way, and it feeds our souls too. To help another human being, it feeds our soul. Yeah, I made soup, the other day. I had extra soup, and then I knew people that needed it or wanted it or liked it, and I shared it. My mother
Mm-hmm.
taught me that. My mother taught me that many, many years ago. My grandmother taught me that. And I know that within my soul, even, and it might seem like incidental to some people, but to others, it means the world,
Mm-hmm.
that they're thought of, that they're cared about. You know, Many a days, Gloria, I sat here alone, no calls. Hey, how are you? Nothing. So I thought, well, everybody's digesting this, everybody's processing this. So I picked up the phone and I called people, and checked in. I didn't change my habits. I live by example, you know, and to those, and I don't know about you, but I've been getting a lot of calls. When's this going to be over? What's your thoughts about this? And so forth. And I've just said simply, um, we're going to be okay. We're all going to be
We are.
okay.
We're going to
And
be
we just
okay.
have
I
to
feel that.
trust. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it's true. I know this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. Doesn't
And
matter
we've
how
been
we
through
got
we've
here.
been through worse things,
Truly.
I was talking to someone who's in their 90s the other day, and even she said to me, she says, "There's been worse than this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, be practical, you
Yes.
know,
Mm-hmm.
but don't go into this panic. And the
Yes.
neat thing was we were talking about how years ago there was no tons of radio stations, there was no social media, there wasn't all these
Yes.
TV channels, so you weren't absorbed. And people are flipping through TV channels just to kind of hear the different versions of it, and it's like enough quiet down.
Yes.
And like Deborah was saying
Yes.
earlier, when you're fully present, you're going to know, like, I have no fear
No.
around any of
No.
this.
No, I don't know though. I really
Yeah.
don't. I don't. You
Yeah.
know, I
And I'm
do want
glad.
my loved ones to protect themselves and not take, silly chances and things like that. I do want to honor what we're asked to do, but I don't feel doom and gloom. I don't
No.
feel any of that. I'm
Right.
actually enjoying the downtime. This is the first time really I've been on the computer in 2 weeks, really.
Mhm.
Well, with very few exceptions. I went on live a couple of nights ago, I think it
Mhm.
was, with a friend. She asked me to go on live with her. So,
And
and I'm enjoying it.
good, good.
Yeah.
You deserve
Hmm.
it because I know you do a lot of volunteer work and
Yes.
fundraisers, and you serve. So getting back to why are we here to serve?
Yes.
I,
Yes.
I'm really glad that you brought up, it is sharing, like you said, some soup. It doesn't mean you have this great big thing that's going to come down and says, oh my God, you got to
No.
stand on a mountaintop. No, no.
No.
Any
No.
way that you extend and open your heart is service to somebody.
My grandmother always used to say, you know what, my reward, you know what my reward is? And we used to say, what, Nan? And she said, my reward's in heaven. That's what
Mhm,
my reward's going to be, heaven. And we used to be like, that's kind of morbid. But it really wasn't. She never expected anything in return for anything
mhm.
that she gave. She did it out of kindness of her heart. And I've tried
Well,
to,
that's unconditional. That's
yes,
unconditional love.
yes,
And
mm-hmm,
we opened this up with, the
yes,
topic of love.
mm-hmm, that's true. It is true. I mean, our it's very simple things we can do. You know,
Hmm.
love, forgiveness, compassion for those who are struggling. We're not necessarily going to be able to financially help everyone we want to, or we're not necessarily going to make enough soup for everybody. But we can do what we can do. You know,
Kind of reminds me of
um,
that story. What's that story? Oh God, is it called the stone soup or something? Where they put a stone in,
oh
and then
yeah,
someone
yeah,
it was right, and then like all the people in the village didn't have enough for themselves, but one would put a carrot, one would put a potato, one would put
yes,
and by the time they were done, the whole village made a huge pot of soup to feed the village. And that's really what a lot of us are doing right
mhm,
now. We're taking care of each other on some level. And that's part of my service in being here and bringing our wonderful guests, to serve
yeah,
here to keep this vibration. We were talking about that earlier, keep the frequency
yes,
high
yes,
and
yes.
to give little tips and to show you, yeah, we're human. We have our little moments. I
Mhm.
cried today, I got upset about something that had nothing to do with all this, but because I'm supporting so many, there was my pressure cooker release. And that's okay. If the tears flow, let them flow.
Right. And Gloria, you're a saint.
No, I'm
Really.
not. Trust me, I'm not.
Well, you're a very good person. Well, you know what? You're human, okay? But you really are a good person and you do a lot for others and you help others. And I'm very grateful to have somebody like you in my corner, and I try to surround myself, with people who want to be there and people who are of like mind, and
And that's
so,
important. That's important when you're on this
mhm,
soul journey, when you're on this path of awakening, to be around like-minded people. And
yes.
that's why the discussions in here are so important. Don't just be an observer, okay?
Yeah.
You've come here for a reason, okay? You all have gifts, and every day that I have done these videos with the interviews, I have invited you to come on and share. And some people say, well, I'm not gifted. Yeah, you are. You all have something to share. That's part of your purpose. And we've had Angela on, who's here tonight. Tina's going to be on
Yes.
Monday. We have other people lined up to speak, but I want you, if you haven't come on, because you know what? It's all about the heart. Just like Deborah was saying, it's all about the heart. And if you have words of inspiration, you don't have to be on here for 30 minutes, an hour. You can come on for 10 minutes.
Sure.
And maybe you did get a message in a dream state or in a meditation. And we love having you part of our life too. um, but it's important, for communities to make that soup together. It's important
Yeah,
because each one of you have a piece of the whole pot. Don't you agree that it takes the village?
I do. I really do. I really do. And sorry, my earbud keeps coming out and I'm twisting it in now, but I absolutely do believe it takes a village.
Part of our life. My cell phone. Sorry about
I
that.
just checking. I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm checking to see if I can see any
Yeah.
comments too. Any
So
other
Tia was
questions?
here. Tia, hi. Yep. So, it's wonderful that the communities can come together. And Angela says, yes, you never know who you may be touching by sharing. And Angela, you're a prime example of that
Yes.
because like a year ago or so, you were invited to your church to speak about your journey. And I remember you saying you were nervous, you didn't know what to say, you had your notes. And then you had all these people coming up to you like, wow, you touched me, you touched me. And I remember you saying you had no idea that that was going to happen. And then look where it took you. Like, you went from, reading off papers and then,
It's my turn.
is that your phone? Turn the volume down.
I'm
And,
trying.
then you're in front of audiences, and you're doing speaking engagements and you're bringing your story and you're
Yes.
making them laugh. And, you just never, ever know. Yeah, it is amazing. It's totally
Yes.
amazing. This is why I give the opportunity to each and every one of you. There's almost 1,000 of us in here. Come on,
Yeah.
people, come and use
Yeah.
your voice. Okay. And Angela, you can tell them, right? It's not so hard. It's scary a little bit at first, maybe, but we make it easy. We're sitting in our living rooms, our office, wherever, we're having a chat. And we're just here to keep you centered, keep you grounded, share some love, inspiration, and whatever else comes up. And with that, whatever else comes up, I just want to let you guys know I added something else here that wasn't here before. When I introduced Deborah, I added
Oh,
author because she is an author. She wrote one of the stories in Women Standing Strong Together, which also Angela and Tina are in there too. So if you
yes.
haven't grabbed a copy of that book, these women are amazing. You got to go read their stories. And the other thing is Deborah is writing her solo book, which we're hoping to come out. Oh, there's the Women Standing Strong. And
Mhm.
she's going to be talking about her gifts as a medium. And that's going to be extremely powerful as well. So those of you, in our community, Angela says, just say yes and
Yes.
believe in yourself. You got it. That's right. Just say, this is my motto when I'm coaching people. Just say yes. Just say yes. And they're like, oh, okay, yes. Just raise your hand and say yes. So if you want to come on and share some words, please just say yes. Right. But Deborah's going to, for a lot of you out there, I know there's been questions in here like how to create boundaries and how not to feel so tired or how to communicate with your loved ones. Deborah's new book that's coming out, Which Power of Potential and Purpose, is publishing for her. Hopefully late spring, early summer, we'll see. But somewhere in there, we're working on it. But first, we're going to get The Path of Awakening out, which is the
Right.
collaborative book that we have some people working on. And like I mentioned, Deb is actually going to contribute something in there, a message from the angels. And I mentioned that earlier. So at this point, Deb, I think this would be perfect for you to share this message, beautiful message that she got from the angels that will actually get published in The Path of Awakening. But it's so important for this time that I want her to share it with all of you tonight. Would you do that for us?
Absolutely, and thank you for allowing me to do that. It's my honor. Okay. All right. Okay. Message from the angels. Pathway to awakening. Dear ones, we love you so much. Call upon us, the angels, as we were created to help you in the highest possible ways. The pathway to awakening is different for everyone. For some, the pathway has been long. For others, it is not so long. All of you are born with the gift of free will and the voice of one's higher self inside of you, inside of them. The knowing resides within. You have had the power all along. The choices you make are yours. Awaken the voice of your soul. Remember who you are, for you are a child of God, the Creator. The higher vibrational light energy is there for you. This higher frequency is all powerful. This all powerful light is above you, below you, and all around you. Fill yourselves up. Ignite the flame within you, and then send it outward into the world to reach all of those who seek it as you once did. Be the channel for the messages. Be the channel for the messages of hope. For today, hope is needed more than ever in our world. Encourage the people to choose love, the energy of compassion, and you will experience God's grace. All those who choose this path will be awakened. Remember free will. Honor the choices made. Some will sleep. Some will choose hate, selfishness, and greed. They are unhappy by their choice. All already know and understand the choices you make that will reawaken you or further deepen your sleep until they've had enough. They'll do this. Going against what the wisdom of the soul already knows, they will sleep. However, you can show them love, compassion, and a better way despite it all. You were born in the energy of love and intelligence. It is time to live in the present, time for self-love. It is time for you to continue to radiate the higher vibrational frequency of light. For you, dear ones, are born with an awareness, born awake. Sometimes you've strayed and walked sleeping in your past. However, the unrest within called you back. You see, your soul knows better. For we, God's angels, gently nudge you along, forward. Trusting in this guidance will never lead you wrong. You are the helpers on the earth realm. You are the healers, the mediums, and the comforters. You are the teachers. Honor the Creator and your fellow humankind by allowing all the access to be shown by the example you lead. Allow them on the pathway to awakening. We are God's loving helpers, the comforters, the protectors and guardians, and we are with you now and always. Thank you. That was the message that I
So
received.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Give her some hearts and love back to this lady. Let her receive for what she just gifted all of us. And if you have any comments to make about that message and what you received from it, feel free to do that, or any questions. So, Deborah, thank you for being a channel. And thank you for serving in this way and bringing this wisdom and this love, through you out to others, because we are the helpers, all of us. That message was absolutely perfect.
Thank you.
Angela
I
says that.
thank the angels really because they did talk. I don't know if I said it or not because I was reading, but what I wrote, but what I received, but they were talking about gently nudging us as well, but I don't know.
Yeah, they did. So
Okay,
sometimes they gently nudge us, and some of us need a
yes.
spiritual 2x4 over our head.
How about it, right? Yeah, I love that one. Get the spiritual 2x4.
You're getting some hearts here.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, send this beautiful lady some hearts. She is our
Oh,
evidential medium in this group. She
mhm.
trains others too in mediumship. She is a natural born empath, intuitive, Reiki master, and author. So stay tuned for her next book coming out soon. But go catch her in Women Standing Strong in the meantime. And if
Yeah,
you
feel free
want
to reach
to,
out.
yeah, reach out. Here's her website. Okay. And I know you have a Facebook group as well, don't you? And what
Yes.
is that called?
I can't remember.
That's okay.
It's just Deborah Finley Medium.
Medium. Okay.
Yeah,
So go friend Deborah Finley Medium. Okay. And you'll see more of the work that she's doing out there, what she's gifting others. And she does do mediumship readings. So if you're looking to contact a loved one, I highly recommend her. She and I have actually worked together a little bit on some things, and she's encouraged me to use my gift as a medium, which I don't always come out and tell people that's what I do. But I want to thank her for encouraging me to express that more. So thank you for that, Deborah. You've
no,
been
thank you for sharing it because I'm telling you, we all have our place, and
hmm
we all do. And I'm grateful to be led where I've been led. And even when I didn't think I was being led, I was being led, you know, and you all
absolutely,
will be as well. And
absolutely. We'll
Gloria
all
is a
be.
very gifted individual. She is a gifted coach, and she helped me so much. She really did. And very few people, honestly, can get through this thick head of mine some days, But yeah, it's important because you make people feel comfortable being who they are. And that's a gift, Gloria. It's a gift. Um, I don't know. So that's what I want to say there. So
Well,
consider
thank you.
consider giving her a call.
Well, if you guys are looking to tap more into your soul purpose and to dive deeper into it on the many layers, there's my email, and that is the work that I have been guided to do at this point in my life. So even though I've spent 4 decades in the healing arts, I would say the last 15 years or so, this is where my path has actually a little bit more than that has led me. And the awakening, like Deborah was talking about, keeps happening. Layers keep coming off. So
Yes.
I know that I'm not even done. And
No,
the interesting thing is, Deborah, every time I do this work, I'm sure like with you, we become clearer channels the more that we trust these gifts and how we serve with them.
absolutely. Absolutely. Just it's gonna be okay, guys and ladies. Oh, thank you.
Aw. Well, thank you all for those
Yes.
of you that came on live and those that you come on replay. Please drop a line down below. Let us know you were here. And I really, again, want to, talk about the importance of you coming on and sharing your voice. It's not hard. Do I bite, Deborah? Like, wasn't that easy?
No, no, she doesn't bite. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
easy. It is. And
hmm
I'm honored, really. Thank you for thinking of me and thank you for
Oh, thank
inviting
you.
me. And I love you all. I really do.
hmm
And we'll all, like again, it's going to be okay.
hmm
Enjoy the moment.
Absolutely. Enjoy the time that we've been gifted.
Mhm.
We also
Yes.
have another woman that's going to be coming on. She is also in the healing arts. And it was funny because she wanted to pass off the opportunity to her guru. And I said, oh, no.
Ah,
and so, see, here, it was like you were saying, helping people get comfortable with who they are and what they have to offer other people. And so her name is Jyoti, and Jyoti is setting up a time with me to come in. She has been studying meditation with her guru in her temple, and she takes many trips to India as well. So this is her life path. And I've known her for I don't even know how many years now, and she's such a beautiful soul. But after our call today, she realized that, yeah, she has her level to reach you out there versus bringing in, quote unquote, someone else. And that person can be invited in too. But I want you guys to share your knowledge, your wisdom, because all of you have it. And I'm excited to bring her on. She's not been a guest yet, and she's going to share what she does for her daily rituals to open up to her soul purpose. She's going to share how in her massage practice, you know, she used to have fear about sharing some of these things, but now her clients are like so open to it. So see, if you're afraid, then you're limiting, right? You're limiting on what you can do. And it's like when you were saying before, it's a give and receive. The more you give, the more you receive. They were loving it. They want to receive more. So I'm going to have her come on and share that too, and probably do a little meditation with you guys as well. We'll see what she's comfortable with. But do come on, do say yes. Like Angela said, just say yes, and let's set up a time. And Deborah, I want to thank you for always being just the beautiful angel spirit that you are, and the love that you emanate is just always so beautiful. So thank you for taking the time in your schedule to channel that message for us and to encourage others to tap into their soul purpose.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. See you next time, right?
See y'all next time. Good night, everybody. Stay
Good night.
healthy. You are loved.
Thank you.